It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad you're here. Yesterday was the 24th anniversary of September 11th. And if you don't know, my best friend's name is Brandy, and yesterday was her 49th birthday. What's interesting about us, we've known each other since we were 11. And whenever the anniversary comes around for the Twin Towers collapsing, I early on I used to think it was incredibly unfortunate because her birthday was now associated with this massive tragedy nationwide. And it just brought us even closer together because this year was the first time I had a birthday party. I did a birthday party for myself. I served as my own entertainment doing my comedy show. Let me know if you want the link because it is absolutely hilarious. Um, but part of the reason why it's the first time I had a real birthday party is because my dad died on my 10th birthday. And so every year after that, it was like the commemoration of the worst day of our lives as a family. And so my best friend and I had some connection to this idea that birthdays, were not always just celebrations. It is a reminder that joy and sadness can live together at the same time, that grief and happiness sometimes have to hold the same space, that it is not either or, that you are often walking through the world dealing with incredible tragedy and also beautiful things happen every day. It's harder, as my friends are getting older and starting to lose their parents, to watch them think that you grieve only, not make space for joy and happiness at the same time. But if there's one thing that I do love about preachers is that, in the morning they might have a funeral, and then in the afternoon they might be doing a baby blessing ceremony, and then later that night they might be celebrating a member who has been there with them for 50 years. And in that same day, just back and forth between emotions. And as I have allowed myself the permission to feel this particular week, I had noticed that I was, I don't know, it was just like a heaviness that's going on in the world. And if you haven't been paying attention, there's lots of isms and hatefulness and divisiveness and all the things, right? And so I go to worship on Sunday mornings looking for a word to lift me up. I posted up a post last week to just say, sometimes when, things are not going quite like I go to my email, I look for, inspirational messages because I just also happen to be Christian. And so Sunday, I was looking for an inspirational word to lift me up. And this is just me. I don't put this on anyone else. We all have our own internal triggers that we have to be responsible for. But at some point during the sermon, there was some mention of a person for whom I just don't have a lot of respect. I find the person to be incredibly divisive. I find the things that they say to be harmful. They have absolutely been accused and convicted found culpable in situations that have been really harmful to individual people, to teams of people, to organizations. And I don't personally find a lot of respect for the person. Okay. And in this particular sermon, there was a statement that said, hey, you know why I like this person? And I just found myself going, okay, I am coming into the space to be filled up, and I am not getting that. But here's where the beauty lies. I went to see what my friend Pastor Adam Hamilton had going on. And he had Rabbi Michael Zedek on talking about miracles and how miracles are around us every day, little small things that we just overlook because we're not paying attention. If you want the link to that sermon, I'm happy to send it to you so you can see it. And it reminded me when September 11th happened, came around Thursday, of a woman named Janelle Guzman McMillan. I often forget her name. She is a Trinidadian American who has now written a book. I don't know how long ago she wrote it, but Janelle was the last person found alive in the rubble from September 11th. She had been buried for 27 hours. she had come here, whatever she had come here from Trinidad to do, didn't work out. And so she ended up working at the World Trade Center. I don't know what she was doing, but she was on one of the higher floors, came down to like the 13th floor at that point, took her shoes off, her heels, because she was, going to run. And then the building collapses on her. She is alive, but she can't move. And she says that a man named Paul grabs her hand and says, "Come with me." She doesn't remember anything else except for at some point she hears voices, and she starts tapping her hand. And that's when the firefighters find her. You can find her book and read it. I have not read it. I've just, I just remember the story about miracles. And I have the only word I have for you today, because I can't be on here long today, is that sometimes being buried is not actually being buried. Maybe it's being planted. Like if you imagine that you are a seed, it might feel like you're being buried. But actually the seed has to be in this dark place at this dark time to be able to germinate and do the things that it needs so that it can grow. And I know for me, this time right now feels really dark. The skin I'm in, the gender I embody, I cannot take it off. This is it. And when I show up, there are things that people immediately think, even if they don't know they're thinking it, based off of what I look like and what I embody. Now, once I open my mouth, people get to make whatever determinations they want. That's a reality that I will never, ever forget. I can't forget it. And right now feels like a burying. And so I don't know if it feels that way for you too, but what I want to offer is that if it does, sometimes it's not buried. Sometimes it's just a point at which you are feeling stuck, but help is on the way. That people have not stopped looking, like in the case of Janelle. And when you get out, what are you going to do with the plants that come forward, right? Are you going to build something beautiful that other people can benefit from? Like, that's purpose, right? That's why we work. That's why we're here. I know that there's an idea that there's some things are just here, that there's no purpose, but no, everything that is living has a purpose. I believe that. And today I'm talking to myself, and I hope that in talking to myself, I am also talking to you. Because the planting season is not also a time to be sitting around doing a whole bunch of work. It's a quiet time. It's a restful time. It might be a dark time, but it is also a time where you rejuvenate so that something else can come forward. And so I don't know. I didn't see a lot of posts yesterday commemorating September 11th, but I had a beautiful opportunity, even in what felt like a heavy day, to talk to my best friend of all time since we were 11. And she was tired, had been working all day. She's a teacher. And I was tired because I'm always tired by Thursday. And I value justice and humor and competence. And I got to talk to my friend, who is an incredibly competent, beautiful person, and just so wicked smart. And we didn't need to talk about justice at all. We didn't talk about anything that was going on in the world. But we got a chance to laugh, because she is absolutely not like me, preacher and preacher's wife, and just salt of the earth, just internally a good person. There's not a single person that I know who has ever said anything bad about her, except for one time. One time there was this guy who pulled me to the side and was complaining about the fact that she was feeding homeless people. And I was like, what? And his issue was that when she was feeding homeless people, some of the prostitutes would, be out working because she was feeding them. I've known this woman since I was 11 years old. And that's the only time I've heard someone complain about her in any capacity, because she was feeding people. And so I thought it was funny that I created a reel and I put Megan Thee Stallion, the Red Hot Cheeto song, as the theme music for the video, just because it's such an oxymoron. But it gave us a beautiful opportunity to laugh in the middle of everything else that is going on. So if you don't hear anything else I say, sugar, allow yourself permission to feel. And that does not mean that you only feel one thing. Sometimes humans are complex and there's multiple things going on at once. And if you allow yourself this, what feels like crushing time, buried time, but is actually planted time to rest and rejuvenate, fill yourself up so you can go out and fight another day. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We've got plenty of work to do.